How can we render floor plans we find on Craigslist into 3D using SketchUp? So here's an example of a floor plan that's relatively complex. Here's one that's pretty straightforward, and here's a floor plan that's fairly simple. So we need to start editing this in Photoshop. To start, I'm going to right click and then copy image. Now I'm going to go to Photoshop, I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to press OK and Control V, and I can see that now at 100% we're good, but it's pretty small, so I'm going to increase the resolution. To do that, I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and now I'm looking at it. I can see that it's 5.5 by 5.5 inches. The resolution, however, is 72. I'm going to increase this to 200, and let's see what happens. There we go. That looks much better. And now what I'm going to do is a couple things. I'm going to press Control L, and I'm going to make the darks a little bit darker. More importantly, though, I'm going to make the lights lighter, and that looks good right there. I'm now going to use the text tool, and I'm going to label these. So this is the living area, and we've got the bathroom. I'm not going to label the bathroom. That's pretty self-explanatory. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return to the original floor plan. I'm going to use the paint bucket, and I'm simply going to erase over this text because our text is a little bit more clear, and it'll show up a little bit easier later on when we render it in SketchUp and we do the X-ray 3D mode. Great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is save this as a JPEG. Great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SketchUp. You might want to click File, New. Right now I'm going to go to File and then Import. We can import a number of file types, of course. We're going to click on JPEG, and I'm going to click on Desktop. There's Apartment 1. Here's this one that we just edited in Photoshop. So I'm going to click once, and now I'm going to click again, and the second time you click influences how big it is. So I'm going to click about right there. Okay, great. So that looks pretty good so far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Camera. I'm going to click on Standard Views and then Top, and I'll bring this down. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and now I'm going to click on View, Face Style, X-ray. Great, so now I can see through this. So ordinarily we're going to use the rectangle tool, the pencil tool, and the eraser tool to sort of draw our outline. So I'll start with the rectangle tool, and we can use this in combination with the pencil tool. So I can see that this floor plan is composed of two pretty big rectangles. We've got a rectangle right here, sort of small rectangle right here, and you know that's kind of tricky, so I'm going to zoom in. And you know what I'll do? I'll finish this off with the pencil tool. So I'm click once. And you know what I can see? It's not even, so I'm going to press Control Z. Great. So now when I zoom out, I can see that it's highlighted, showing that everything is selected. I'm going to press View, Face Style, take off the X-ray, and this is what we got so far. I'm going to bust out the eraser tool, erase all these little lines. That will be problematic if we don't address them right now. And so now our apartment's looking pretty good. Next step is to use the offset tool. I'm going to click right here, right between the orbit and rotate tool. And we're going to give this apartment some walls. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to return to View, Face Style, and then X-ray. So we're almost done with drawing this. I'm going to simply need to use the pencil tool. And even though you can see that I made a little bit of a mistake, we can always shove this wall over later on using the push-pull, but right now I'm going to keep it even though it's not entirely accurate. We can always fix this up later. You're going to want to do the best to match it up, but if it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to use the eraser tool, delete that interior line. I can see we've got a, looks like a little wall over here at the edge of the kitchen. That looks good. Again, I'm going to use the eraser tool because we want to get rid of these lines. And looking at this, just about done. I'm going to use the rectangle tool to draw this corner. This corner, okay, almost there. All right, looks like we're golden. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna orbit out. I'm gonna change this from view, face style, take off the X-ray, and let's see what happens. Let's see if we're good when we use the push-pull tool to raise these walls. Nice, that looks pretty spectacular right there. Okay, so I'm gonna return again, view, face style, X-ray, and I can see we've got the kitchen, we've got the closet, and we've got the bathroom. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start importing the bathtub, the sink, and the toilet. I'm going to include the appliances, specifically the sink right here. And it looks like we have a little sort of view that we can look through to the living area. We do not have, however, any photos to match up to this apartment, but that's okay. I'm going to add a door right here. In fact, I'll do that right now. So here we have our door, and I'm going to load this directly into our SketchUp model. I can see that it says on face, which is so crucial, and I'm going to click, and I can see that it's on the floor. It's a little big though, so I'm going to scale it down in just a minute. I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? Return to the regular shaded with textures. I'm going to click on the orbit tool, click on the top, click once, and again it says rotate. I'm sorry, not the orbit, the rotate. That looks good. I'm going to press S to scale it down. That, of course, is a little bit too small. I'm going to use the move tool to shift it over like so. Clearly, it's not flush with the walls. Alright, so return to the orbit. I'm sorry, they rotate. That looks pretty good. Now, all we've got to do is press S. There we go. So we've this closet's got a door. We're gonna add the front door. We're gonna add windows, and we're gonna add textures, and we're gonna furnish it with components from the 3D warehouse. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good luck.